constructive decision-making in the classrooms and schools.
They build a climate of trust and respect between teachers and students, as well as among students, and help students take ownership and responsibility for their classroom, which is the ultimate goal of the classroom meeting.
It has been found that students often develop a better sense of responsibility when given a chance to make meaningful contributions in their own classroom. When students believe they are contributing to the school environment in a significant way, they feel a more positive attachment to school and are more motivated to learn.
It's a vision that students are allowed to problem solve and make their own decisions, are likely to buy into solutions and bring a class during the meeting.
Your class meetings.
Those of us in our 8th period study hall are the students you will have in your class meetings. We are a team, a homeroom, we are homies, what?
Your class meetings.
We usually have our class meetings on Wednesdays during our 8th period study hall. There may be times where we have to switch class meeting days. Mrs. Sorensen thanks you in advance for being understanding and
Your class meeting take.
A class meeting should take as long as we need, but an estimated time length is 20 minutes.
Do if a student gives them information that concerns them. They should remember to tell us 3 rules of confidentiality. A teacher has to tell another person if a student is going to hurt themselves. If a student is going, if someone is hurting a student or if a student is going to hurt someone else, you can report these things to Mr. Sligard, Mr. Holt, or Mrs. Sorensen.
the teachers use.
Mr. Sorensen is going to use the results from our needs assessment to line up appropriate topics, lessons, and activities for your class meetings. If you have a different activity that you would like to use, then go for it.
Like.
Well, sit back and watch us in action.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Mrs. Sorensen.
Welcome to our class meeting today. Jack has volunteered to review our class meeting rules that we made up last week. Go ahead, Jack.
Respect, keeping things confidential, and raising your hand are our 3 class rules.
Very good. So let's remember those class meeting rules as we go through our class meeting today. Today we're going to do a lesson on name calling because I've heard from different kids in the school that name calling is kind of a problem. And sometimes people are joking when they're name calling, but sometimes it hurts people's feelings, okay? So what I'm going to have you do today on your paper, I'm going to have you turn it over to the blank side. And I would like you to take a minute to write any names that you have been called. Now, I want you to remember that you don't have to censor the names that you write on here. This will all be kept confidential. So any name that you have ever been called, go ahead and write it on this sheet. Go. All right, now I'm looking and seeing that all of you are writing some names down. I want you to stop writing the names down right now, and instead, I want you to go back to those names, and I want you to write what feelings you felt when someone called you those names. Okay? So write the feeling word that went along with being called those names. So now that we went through names that we've been called, the feelings that went along with those names that we were called, I have some questions to ask you. What do you guys feel like is the impact of name calling? Mallory, go ahead.
More name calling, like she called me this one.
Okay, so it might lead to other people calling names. Anyone else?
Could start a whole school of calling you names, and it can be a name that sticks with you forever. Like somebody sees you in 30 years, and they call you that name.
Okay, so good one, Jackson. Sometimes names don't just last for a day; they might last for a lifetime. But do you guys feel like the results are primarily constructive, which is good and building up, or destructive, which is bad and building or tearing down of name calling? Tell me more, Izzy, depending on what name it is.
If somebody was calling you ugly, then it would make you feel easy.
Okay, so tell me a name calling that would build you up.
Pretty.
You're awesome.
You're awesome, praise, awesome. Daphne, I noticed you raised your hand.
If like someone says, "Oh, you're really good. You're really smart," I mean that makes me feel good. You know, you're
Okay.
smart.
Oh, good. So we could actually use name calling to build up instead of tear down. I like it. Jace.
I actually kind of feel that friend would be a good.
Okay, so being called a friend by somebody. Okay, Jack. Do you think in our school that name calling is common? And you can be completely honest here. Do you feel like name calling is common here?
Yeah.
I think it's common, but like most of the time people just joke around with it. Doesn't hurt the other person's feelings.
Okay, so I'm hearing that it is common.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is joking around, and sometimes people's feelings don't get hurt. But I'm hearing from this side of the room that sometimes it is joking, but feelings do get hurt. Is that what I'm hearing?
We have moments where they know we're joking with them and it's just messing around with each other.
But then
But
like
other times-
sometimes like jokes go too far.
Remember, one person at a time.
Yeah, sometimes jokes go way too far.
Okay, so it can start out fun, laughing, but sometimes it gets too serious and it moves too far. What are some possible long-term effects if this is constantly going too far and it's someone's repeatedly being called hateful names? What are some long-term effects?
They think it's true.
Okay, so they start to believe that thing about them. What else?
Depression.
Depression. Have you ever been angry when someone's called you a name? Did anyone put anger on their list when someone calls you something? We are going to do one last activity today. You're going to turn your papers over, and on this sheet is one role, one person, many roles. Okay? And so I'm going to give you some time to work. You can work on your own, or you can work with a couple partners, but you are going to fill out this sheet. And the first one is a target, because sometimes we are the target of someone's negative words or name calling. So I want you to talk about in your group or write down a time when someone's words or actions hurt you. Sometimes we are the perpetrator, right? Because if we're honest, we all make mistakes, right? There's always a time when maybe we called somebody a mean name or hurt someone's feelings. So I want you to talk about or write about a time when your words or actions hurt someone. Then you're going to talk about being the confronter.
Hello,